You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Jeffrey Davis.
What up? What up?
So, Jeffrey, tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you do professionally?
Well, professionally, I have done many things in my life, but mostly what I've done is I own a gym in Nashville, Tennessee, and do personal training and teach group classes and train trainers and talk about food and everything else, nutrition and stuff with clients all day.
Well, you're talking to a fellow fitness freak, man. I've gone to the gym every day for almost 7 years,
Nice.
And I did it as like a kind of making myself better after high school, but it's become an addiction, man. I'm telling you, there's no better feeling. Like they talk about the runner's high.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had this happen to me yesterday. I swear, after my car broke down, all this stuff started happening, felt like life was shit. I was like, I just need to go to the gym. Went there, worked out for 2 hours. Right afterwards, it was like, you could have told me someone in my family died, and I would have been like, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh shit. Well, hey, I mean, yeah, it can be a very good stress relief. I will say that there's a pitfall in becoming a fitness professional that a lot of fitness professionals kind of fall into is when you make something that you love as like your hobby or your stress relief, your profession, it becomes work. And like you
You
go,
start to hate it.
well, not hate it, but just, I love my job. I love helping people, but it can become for a lot of people a chore to do your own workout because you're like, oh God, I just trained for 8 hours straight. The last thing I want to do is my own workout.
Exactly.
Um,
I mean, I've gone every day, dude. And I'm telling you, there are some days I have it where I'm like, fuck, I got to do this shit again. Like, really? Can't even make it through your own workout. You're just sitting there like, all right, man, just going to wait till that clock hits that time so I can go home and eat something. But it's like, it gets ridiculous. But then yesterday, so since my car broke down, I decided to go not at my average gym time because I really needed that therapy right then. So I went to the gym in the morning and I was like, damn, I was like not looking at the clock. I was getting into the weights again. I was trying to break maxes. I was doing a bunch of stuff. And I felt like as long as I got my headphones in, I have a sense of peace right now. I just need to focus on this one thing in front of me, put on a podcast and just be able to crank out the pain, cry through the tears.
that's a good way to think about it. Just focus on the next rep, the next set, just, take it one step at a time. And that's, also I'm a big proponent for my clients is, unless my rule is, that unless you're sick well, sick's relative, unless you have a fever or you got it coming out one end or the other, go ahead and get here, no matter how bad you feel, and we'll do something. It may not be the best workout of your life, but something's always better than nothing. And I say that all the time. Something's always better than nothing. Maybe we were, scheduled for an hour, but if all you got is 30 minutes in you, then let's get 30 minutes. And I tell my clients, all I want's all you got, and all you got varies day to day.
You probably find with training and stuff, like when people don't show up, that really just creates a bad habit for them to not show up the next time. And it's like letting in, like once you let in or you miss that one time, no matter if it's like a family thing that happened or you obviously just couldn't make it, it makes it harder to go back the second time unless you're really pushing yourself, because then you feel like, man, I'll just skip it again. I'll do that. And then it gets put on the side. Like I know so many personal trainers that like I work out with, and they're sitting there saying the client didn't show up today. I'm like, well, next time or something. Next thing you know, they're sitting there again waiting for 30 minutes. Like, damn, you didn't show up again. Next thing you know, you don't see that person back for another week. They had to get a whole new client.
Yeah, that's true. It does get easier the more you do it. It's just like any routine that you break, it becomes easier to break it again. But and I definitely was plagued by those no shows and stuff a whole lot earlier in my career. I've done this for fixing to be my 17th year doing this, and you know it's easy to kind of let your clients take advantage of you like that, but as you spend more time doing that, you realize that that's just an indicator that, number one, they don't respect your time, and number two, they're not taking their goals seriously, and that's okay. I just simply these days, if somebody, you know, eh, cancels or no shows on a continual basis, I'm talking like 2 or 3 times in a row, we have a conversation about that. Hey, about I respect your time and you respect my time, and also let's talk about your goals. Is this really something that you're serious about at this time? And if not, that's okay. But I have to spend my time with folks that are going to be serious.
Well, a lot of time people want that immediate result, which I'm
Sure.
sure you've come across. It's
Oh yeah.
most of the people just want to get that. Oh, summer body. Okay, well, I can go to the gym 2 weeks before summer starts, and I'll have it. I'll have it right then. And you're just looking at them like, bro, you don't even know fitness.
Should have called me in November.
Yeah, should have called me about a year ago when
Yeah.
actually you're going to see the results now. Because I mean, it takes 3 months for yourself to see results, 4 or 5 months for your family to see results, and 6 to 8 months before someone in like around you starts seeing results. And those are got to be your friends that like see you on like a kind of like a almost everyday basis. It's because all the changes are so slight and they're so slow, but that's the right way to do it. Because if you go and try and do, I mean, hey, I'm not gonna shit on these people because I do it too. I mean, I have a little bit of a gym dysmorphia when it comes to hyper gymnasium where I always feel the need to work out. So like I'll work out twice a day usually on my days off because I'm like, even if I did 10 podcasts and only slept 2 hours, I'm still being fucking lazy. I might as well go to the gym. And like you get to see it take a toll because like I'll run 15 miles on a fasted stomach or something. Then I'll go home and I'll be like, damn, shredded right now. And then I'll eat something and freaking then I'm off balance the whole day. My eating time's messed up.
Hmm.
Everything. You feel like you're a little bit weak. And then you go and take a nap or something before you go and hit the gym twice. Then you're like, fuck, I can't even work out with my actual routine because I wasted all my energy right in the morning.
Right.
It's
That's true. I mean, you mentioned fasted cardio. Don't get me started, man. We can go all day on fasted cardio alone.
the
But
fact that every time you do fasted cardio, somebody's in your way at that exact moment when you're trying to get food. It's like it's your window. You can warn everybody who lives with you or wherever that, hey, I have this window to get home. And you're fucking driving or something, and some dude in front of you is going like 20 miles an hour and the speed limit's like 60. And you're just sitting there like, I'm gonna bite the steering wheel, rip it off, and then jump out of the car and we're gonna have a tussle. It's like I don't know what it is, but when they say hangry, that's a legit thing.
oh shit, yeah. I was on a. I get seriously hangry, and for the record, I refer to hunger as the low fuel light. It's just like the low fuel light in your car coming on. Hunger is the low fuel light. If you get to hangry, you're you're out of gas. You should have eaten before that, but sometimes, like you said, life situations don't allow you to get the food where you want to. But yeah, I was on a road trip one time with some friends, and it was a small road trip, and the guy that was driving like refused to pull over and get some food. I'm like, dude, I told you 30 minutes ago we need to start thinking about food. I'm getting hungry. And we got to this point and he just would not fucking stop. And I was like, man, you got about 5 more minutes and I'm not responsible for what happens to you if you don't pull the fuck over. I have to get some food.
Grab
And
some damn pizza combos. It
yeah,
only
I know,
takes a
right?
minute. Holy crap. Like
I'm not
just
talking about sitting down for a meal. Let's go to the fucking gas station and get something.
to get something to sustain you. I mean, I look like, I'll be hanging out with my buddies or something and someone will just snap out of nowhere. I'm like, I just look at him, I go, dude, are you hungry? He goes, no, I'm not hungry, man. I'm just angry. I'm like, why don't you nibble on this real quick? And the next thing you know, they're just like passive in the car, like they just smoked a joint. They're like, I'm good. Life's good. I'm like, yeah,
It's like
exactly. It's that Snickers commercial is some real shit.
that was legitimately what I was just fixing to say. The Snickers commercial is for real. If you know people that are that way, I've seen people be like, folks will see that commercial and be like, "Oh man, that's just exaggerated." I'm like, clearly you've never experienced hanger.
I'm an advocate for like a fasted run, like in the morning, like, because you just wake up, just don't eat anything, go to like the gym, do like a good 30-minute cardio session, then like go home and eat something. Like that's okay. But I know my buddy got really into fasting and he doesn't know anything about working out. So he was just sleeping until 4 p.m. and then eating because he works like a late night job. But he's like, dude, I just wish I had more energy to like go out and do stuff. Like I want to wake up earlier and get stuff done, so I'm not waking up at like the end of the day. And I'm like, you're not fucking eating. You're
Right.
not giving yourself energy. You're tired all the time because you're hungry, but you're sleeping it through. Like when you go to sleep, your body doesn't need food. It just goes on like reserve mode where it's like your metabolism all slows down, even though they say it's like your highest point, which I've never really truly understand.
Well, you still burn calories when you sleep, but obviously you're laying still, so not nearly as much as when you're awake. Um,
Yeah, the more muscle you build, the more your calorie kind of consumption increases because you have more things that are burning off those calories now.
right. It takes more energy for muscle to be um, uh, well,
It's
not just awake, but to be fueled.
Yeah, it's
Um,
muscle expenditure.
yeah, and that's all a calorie is. I just had this conversation literally yesterday. Um, that we make the calorie this like nebulous thing, but really all it is a unit of measure of energy. Literally, when you say, well, this burger has 800 calories, it has 800, 800 calories of energy in it. And then we have to talk about if fat loss is your goal or weight loss, and those are two different things, fat loss versus weight loss. But you have to do the math on calories in versus calories out, but it's not that simple as fat loss periods will lead you to believe. It's like, well, it's just a matter of simple math. It's just you burn more calories than you take in. Well, in a bubble, if we lived in a bubble and our bodies worked perfectly and we didn't have any kind of hormonal issues, genetic issues, metabolic issues, and so on and so forth, things that affect how many calories your body actually burns a day, then sure, it'd be as simple as just doing the math of calories in versus calories out. But in reality, it can be quite complicated to actually figure out how many calories you actually are burning. And secondly, why the fuck are you not burning as much as you quote unquote should be if you're not? And they're good trainers admit when they're out of their wheelhouse with their clients. And there are clients over the years where I go, look, we're doing all the things we should be. The math is there. Maybe we've tried a couple different ways of eating, but for some reason a client's just not having the results. So one of two things is happening, right? Number one, they're fucking lying to me about what they're eating, or number two, which doesn't help at all for the record, and you're stressing the shit out of your trainer if you're doing that to your trainer. But or number two, they have some factor that it's impossible for me to figure out, right? So you
Most of it
refer
probably correlates on to stress. I mean,
exactly.
I think a lot of people, like including myself, I missed a big window when it came to the stress factor because I mean, like I said, car broke down. I was not in the right mindset, but that stress relief was my gym. But my power is not in how strong or how hard I go in my workout, which I do go relatively hard. There's no sitting on my phone like most people. It's it's constant reps. I see it as a mission, something I need to get done because I want that anger demon off my ass. And it's a great rationalization, but I have friends that are lazy that, used to make fun of me in school for being overweight or something. And then now they're the ones overweight because, they drink all the time. And they're like, can
Right.
you train me? I'll pay you money. And I always wanted to kind of dive into personal training and all this stuff. But just like how you said, where it can become a kind of a job, that's the kind of the way I look at it. Cause I know once I start doing that and I feel like I have to be there all the time, I don't ever want to turn this thing that I use as my stress relief to be a job ever.
Exactly.
And
And it
well,
go ahead.
it brings in a whole new aspect. Like I told my buddy, I was like, "There's no need to pay me. Give me give me what you do, and we'll be able to kind of figure out like a better way to go from there. Like I'll give you free advice. There's nothing." He's like, "No, I can't just let you do it for free." I'm like, "I'm not certified. I'm not anything." But I wish someone would have helped me when I needed help and I was alone and didn't know what to do. And people that worked there took their guidance upon me. And they did that. They gave me small tips, and some of them have been on my podcast. And I tell
Cool.
them, I'm like, look, like my one bodybuilding manager is my fifth episode I ever did, Chuck Gokenauer. He talks about he wanted to be a bodybuilder because as a kid he used to draw comic books and superheroes, and he wanted a body like that. So he decided to put in all his effort. And he's a great guy. And we talked about a bunch of things from body dysmorphia to the whole 9 yards. But I would never charge someone like a friend that just wanted help changing themselves on the concept of, I wish someone would have took the time to help me. So I'm never going to give that little bit of help to someone and charge for it.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think we're all people trying to discover something. I think a lot of people give up on the fitness route because when they want to talk about bettering their lives, the first thing they think of is physical appeal. And that's not always true. I mean, a lot of people aren't meant to have a six pack. A lot of people aren't meant to have these types of things just based on basic genetics. And
Right.
we live in a world that is dominated on the basis of your looks, you know?
Totally. And for the record, yeah, it's my opinion that like the way that you look is like the very final benefit of exercise. Like, like there's so many more benefits, whether it be like you mentioned, stress relief, or whether it be increased energy, better digestion, better sleep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cardiovascular, heart health, um, lung health, so on and so forth. All these internal things that exercise gives you, and like looking a little better, like the final thing that you get out of exercise.
Yeah, I know when my ass fills up in some jeans, I'm like, damn, them squats be actually working. You know what I mean?
And like you said earlier, it takes time. It takes way more time than most people expect. I actually, when I meet with a potential new client, I say, okay, well, what, we talk about their goals, and I go, okay, well, what is how long do you expect it to take to reach those goals? And I ask them, I want to know what their expectations are, and they go, well, you know,
2
I
weeks.
want to,
It's
yeah,
gonna be 2
well,
weeks.
actually, most people are a little more realistic than that these days. They
I
used to
know
be
people that are like 2 weeks, one day. It's gonna
yeah.
tomorrow, right after I get done, it's gonna be immediate results. I'm gonna be able to.
I do get that sometimes, but yeah, if they go, well, I mean, like couple months, and I go, we'll triple that.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'll let them know right up front. Here's what you can expect. And if you're the kind of client that wants, there are ways I can get you those results fast.
steroids.
But yeah, but I'm not good.
I was introduced to that at a very that was a shaky moment in my life where actually I was working out for like probably 4 years in, and I was like, there's this guy who's just doing 10 fucking pull-ups, sitting down, and he pulled out a fucking steak and started eating it. And for the 2.5 hours he was there, I mean, this guy's waist was as thin as a Coke can, but had the lats of Hercules.
Hmm.
And I'm like, either he just got out of prison or he's on a drug. And I asked him, I was like, how are you just doing 10 pull-ups the whole time you're here eating a steak and you stay that ripped? And
Protein.
he just goes, bro, look at me. I'm like, I'm looking at you. He goes, roids. I'm like, oh, that's a thing?
Oh,
Like,
he was straight up with it.
no, he was straight with it. He was like, roids, man. He goes, do you want to try them? And
Oh shit.
I had an interpretation in my head. So my brain came at it two ways. One, when you start working out so much and then it feels like your results slow down, you look for anything to try and get like a quick and a better result, try and pass that peak. You can do it naturally, like most people try and do, but there's always that slight thought, like, what happens if I did try something? So I'm sitting there looking in the mirror and I'm like, the problem I've seen from documentaries from like, you see Ronnie Coleman, all these people that work out all the time and they're talk about how their body's not how it used to be when they're young. And talking to, my bodybuilding manager, Chuck, he was telling me, he was like, dude, I look in the mirror all the time and I don't see the guy I used to be in my prime. I'm an old man now. My legs are still as big as tree trunks, but everything else is not in the shape it was before. And I'm like, doesn't that play a toll on your mind? And he goes, yeah, it does. But I think you have to understand that, the beautiful thing about it is it's like a sandcastle, like Joe Rogan talks about, like life is a sandcastle. You build something up knowing that it's going to get broken down. And I think that's kind of the beauty in it. Made me look at it a different way. But also I know if I took steroids, that change. And then once I stop taking steroids, your body goes to complete shit. And then you're fucked up for the rest of your life.
Yes, you are. I know many people that are, aging, and whether they be, older than me, I'm 37, but people that did steroids, in their late teens and stuff. And then, some guys that are older than me that, you know, they're starting to have that significant breakdown. It's not just a breakdown of muscle. It's like the toll it takes on your joints and your kidneys and all kind of stuff, because people, I mean, if you're going to at least use responsibly. For the record, I don't advocate, using, but at least I'm glad the guy you talked with actually was forthright about it. Like most people, you look at people going, okay, you sit here you're here for 3 hours and you work out for a total of 15 minutes in that 3 hours. You've got an 8-pack and you're, Latzilla, and you go, dude, what's your secret? It's like, oh, well, I get 300 grams of protein a day. Bullshit, dude. So I'm glad if you're going to use it, at least be honest about it
If
and
you're
do it
getting
responsibly.
300 grams of protein per day, your farts are going to be god awful.
Yes, they are. Protein farts, man.
That's a real thing. Please enlighten people, because I swear to God, I fart and people are like, "What did you eat?" Like, God, it's like sulfur, and I'm like, "That's what it is, though," because I eat nothing but protein. I'm eating more protein than I am anything else. I mean, I'll have a can of tuna or a chicken breast or something with like a small salad and a little bit of carbs and stuff. It's like that's what it is. But I consume, like, I'm 130 something pounds. I can bench press like almost 200, and like they call me the Ant Man because my body's not meant to get super big, which I don't care about. I care about being lean just because on the basic aesthetic appeal, I like the 6-pack look and I like that. But
Mhm.
I also like it to be kind of functional too. You know what I mean? I
Right.
don't want it just to be like I have this, but I can't lift anything.
Right.
But like you have to consume a lot of protein to fuel yourself, especially after a workout. When you get done a workout, you're like, I need to get some food in me like now.
Right. And yeah, so protein farts are a real thing. And sometimes, well, so do you do a lot of protein supplements, or is most of your protein come from
I
food?
used to go heavily on supplements where it was only meals, and then I started realizing I haven't shit in a week. And I was like, why is this not happening? So I went to the doctor and he's like, are you taking a lot of proteins, like powders and stuff? I'm like, yeah. He's like, is it every meal? I'm like, basically. And he goes,
Mhm.
yeah, your body has no food in there. So it's not going
Yep.
to push anything out. And I'm like, oh,
Yep.
that makes sense. But then, like, as I'm at this point now, like, I'll do the occasional, maybe one scoop or something every once in a while. But honestly, I like the food a little bit better than the actual shake. The shake's just faster.
Yeah, it is faster, but like your doctor said, it's not food. It's nutrients, but it's not food. And I'll I could ramble for days about that thing alone. But like, I always tell clients that they're called supplements for a reason. They're there to supplement your diet, not make up for the majority of it or even a big portion of it, and surely not to replace entire macronutrients that you have for some reason excluded from your diet in food. They're there to supplement, to help, not make up for.
Yeah, like the little friend coaching you off to the sideline, telling you, you can do it.
Exactly.
Just take
But
another scoop.
right. But yeah, so you asked about protein farts. So the protein farts, so that's a lot of times, if they get really super bad, I mean, it's probably because someone's taken a bunch of protein supplements. That seems to make it worse than just eating a bunch of protein. But
What the hell smells like rotten eggs?
right.
God damn. Look, I experience protein farts. The only time I ever try and do my hanging leg raises, I try and make sure that nobody's, because I go to a 24-hour fitness place. So I became really close to the owner there. She gave me a key and everything. She's practically, I mean, she knows. She's like, if I was going to hire you, I'd never have to worry about you not showing up because you come here every day. I see the
Nice.
sign and shit. And I'm like, yeah, well, this thing changed me for the better. And I'm like, the only time I'll ever do hanging leg races or something like that, I find once I start doing them, I start getting that bubble gut where you have to kind of
Yeah.
like let a fart out. So I like make sure nobody's in there when I'm doing it. So I can just let it rip. And I remember this one dude fucking came in and he walks in and goes, "Huh?" And then like turned around and went out. And I just started looking, and Chuck walks in. He's got his freaking shirt above his nose. And he's like, "All right, Rob, I'm leaving." I'm like, "You smell that too?" He's like, "Bro, it's protein farts," and just walks out. I'm like, "All right, well, at least he understands."
At least he knows. That's funny.
I think like you get to see two types of people I've discovered through my life. Going to the gym, like my whole clock has went all the way around. I mean, the whole day from 2 p.m., 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. This every single time would always change, and that's just through years of going. And just constantly, if it gets stale, when it starts to get stale, you need to look at a better time to go. Sometimes it's not just changing the workout. Sometimes it ends up being like might need to go a little earlier. I might need to go a little bit later, especially when you have a job or something too. You have to find the time to at least go, but finding that time is important. But going at 2 o'clock in the morning, you come across two types of people. There's the drug people the people that are like, you know, they're doing and experimenting with something. And then there's the people that seem like they're too smart to have a conversation with the average everyday folk, the night people, the ones that are getting off the late shift and they decide to go to the gym and then they're sitting in there like watching documentaries. There was this one guy in particular, he was watching fucking space documentaries in the gym while he was working out. And like I went to talk to him and I was having a conversation with him. I'm like, he's not very good at speaking well. He sounded like Elon Musk a little bit, like he was too smart, but he couldn't explain what he was saying.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, there's people that are as smart as you that talk like Neil deGrasse Tyson and are better of explaining themselves, but you
Right.
can't get the words out there. And I just asked him, I was like, so why do you come so early? He's just like, it's hard to associate with a lot of people. A lot of people are just negative and they don't choose to understand you. And I was like, damn, thank you for talking to me, Mr. Morgan Freeman. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my workout. Have a nice day.
Right. He basically said fuck off as nicely as he could.
Yeah, it was a smart way of doing it too, because if you would have just said fuck off, I would have been at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what'd you say? What'd you say? Couldn't tell. I was half asleep.
Well, at least he knew his social shortcomings and was at least trying to avoid other humans as best he could.
I think that's just interesting because I think the gym life, like someone can make a damn nature documentary off the gym. Especially nowadays, you run into the apes, which are like the kids with the snapbacks on all the equipment, screaming on the top of their lungs. And
Oh God.
just recently, I started getting upset because when I walk into my gym, it's a church, it's a home. Okay, this is something I care for. I rack my weights. I make sure I treat it with respect because the owners always treated me with respect, and this place has forged me for the better. But like you start to see kids like let all of their friends in now because ours is just a scanner at the door, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I try and stop them. Like, guys, like I don't mean to be a dick here, but like this is paying people that come here. Like it's all usually a little bit of older people. And it's like you're not really giving this place respect because then I come in the next day, fucking piece of equipment's broken. I'm like, this hasn't been broken for 7 years.
Right.
Like all the pins are snaps and now everyone's walking around trying to get the leg press like to be able to do it. They have to go find a pin from another machine and stick it in the leg press. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, like this has become a goddamn scavenger hunt before I can even get my reps.
Yeah, that is. It's hard not to let a gym become that and to keep up with it, especially on a 24-hour place like that. My gym, um, here in Nashville is called Next Level Strength and Conditioning, and we are a appointment only gym. So if you're there to take a group class that's already scheduled, or you're there to train with one of the trainers. Other than that, you're not there. So the nice thing about I don't have to at least worry about that anymore because, um, you know,
It's not just people coming off the
it's not
street.
just random ass people. I don't show up and go, well, how the fuck did this get broken in this weird ass way? It's like if something happens to have an issue, it happened during a class or it happened during one of my trainers, and a trainer calls me and goes, "Hey man, just FYI, this thing, this pin broke or whatever, yada yada yada," and then easy peasy, you just go fix it. But yeah, man, especially those 24-hour places and people walking other people in behind them. That's all right. Let's call it what it is. For everyone out there that's ever done that, that's fucking stealing.
Scavenger
Okay.
is what it is.
And
We
you're,
live in a society with rules. We got to follow the rules, damn it.
well, to the ones that make sense, but like not taking shit that's not yours. That's one to follow.
There's gym rules that like there's an etiquette a lot of people don't understand. And it's like you're sitting there taking a rep. How much you got, bro? How much you got left? How much you got left? I'm like, I'm done when I'm done, man. Like
Right.
I'm trying to wrap it as fast as possible, but I'm gonna get my stuff in. And they just sit there watching you the whole time. It's
Right.
like, and then you got the guys that scream really, really loud. I call those the animals in the gym, the ones that like get the powder on their hands. They lift like extremely enormous weights, which if you ever seen the YouTube series Bro Science,
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
that guy shows you all like he does it in like a kind of a douchebag way. He just like a Jersey Shore type. That's his kind of personality that he displays. He's not really like that. But he talks about like all these things like it's all about the pump. It's all about this. And he goes and takes pre-workout, pours water in it, and then starts drinking it from the pre-workout thing. But he makes fun of the types of people that you do run across in the gym. The ones that, just are there kind of showing off. I know one time I ran into this girl. She was tight leggings. She was attractive, but it was not more important than my workout. So I'm sitting here bench pressing, and the bad part about the gym is they have mirrors all over the place. So you're always fucking looking at yourself. And you can tell when somebody's looking at you through the mirror, because then you make the eye contact. Like, I can fucking see you just
through the mirror.
Yeah. And it's she was bending down right in front of me as I was bench pressing. So every time I came up, I also had to like stare at the floor. So then I decided to stare into this piece of the mirror, and she just turns around and goes, "Can you stop looking at my ass?" And I just looked at her and I go, "Honey, I'm looking at myself in this shirt and realizing I need to hit arms a little bit more." And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Exactly. Like, don't make those claims. First of all, if you go to the gym with 50 pounds of makeup on, you're not really there to better yourself. You're there to look good. Like, you're there to show off, which, I mean, if you work hard for it, then go ahead. But don't just come in off the street and, just sit there and do calisthenics in front of people that are actually trying to focus and try and maintain that fitness."
And man, those girls in the gym you want to avoid. I mean,
No good things come from
like
that.
the fucking plague. The ones that are there clearly to be looked at, but they're the first ones to be like, "What are you fucking looking at?" Well, you put your ass in my face repeatedly, and when you don't need to, and the first time I glance at you, you're gonna be like, "What are you staring at?" Like, "Whoo, you need to avoid that shit," because she's gonna turn the corner and tell her friends that you tried to touch her or something. I mean, I don't know why there's that that certain girl that does that at the gym, and I've never been able to figure it out.
They probably were hot in high school, and then they feel like they can get off their looks now. I think a lot of people, like we say, we live in a world where it's kind of is on the basis of looks. You just judge people all the
Mhm.
time, whether it's subconsciously or, just outright. And it's because we do live in a world that is capitalized on looks,
Oh, of course.
it's you're always judging what someone has, whether it's a nice car or whether it's a nice ass. And with like a lot of people, they think they can go through their whole entire life based on their looks, and they don't understand that's a fleeting thing. Like, Pam
Right.
Anderson had to go through extensive surgery where she's at now, where she's just trying to keep what she has, but she
Right.
can't. She's not in the spotlight anymore. See, when you capitalize your whole career on looks, that's a fleeting thing. So you got to find other ways to kind of get your life set in a way, because you can't keep those qualities forever.
Yeah. Oh, wait, shit. I actually can't act.
Hmm.
So now no one's casting me.
Hey, you weren't watching Baywatch for the acting, okay?
Nobody was. Man, David Hasselhoff is huge in like Germany. Did you know that?
Well, that's
Like for his music.
for his music.
Yes.
He's an artist.
Yes. And he's like worshipped in Germany for his music.
Well, I guess he's the Hoff, so I mean, he probably has a
Right.
bunch of
Oh,
talents we don't know about.
speaking of crazy shit you've probably never heard of, but related to fitness and the pump that you mentioned a second ago from the Bro Science, the guy that's like, it's all about the pump. Have you ever heard or seen the video of Arnold Schwarzenegger in like the 70s talking about the pump?
I have not.
Oh my God, you've got to Google it. He,
It is the bump.
no, man, but he looks like he is just high as a kite in this video.
I
And
love it when they go and say they don't take roids, and then you
yeah,
see them sign up. Like, now in bodybuilding competitions, they have natural and unnatural, because now they just know that you're probably on something.
yeah, but if you didn't know this, most natural shows tell you 6 months ahead of time when they're going to test to make sure you're natural. And if you've been doing steroids for any amount of time, then you know exactly how long it takes to get that out of your system. And it's just like, okay, you're natural now, but you weren't for the last year of training.
You were
Um,
natural 6 weeks ago.
Right. But yes, so Schwarzenegger is talking about the pump, and he's got this creepy grin on his face, and his eyes like
Have you
like the size
seen?
of saucers, and he's talking about the pump, and he relates the pump in his workout to well, not just to sex. He relates it. He literally says it's as the pump is as good as coming. It's just like, and it's like, so I walk around, it's like I'm coming all day long. It's just like, oh my God.
He's not wrong, but he probably should have phrased it better.
But he says, it's just like I'm coming all day long. He says it like 30 times in 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Oh, so that's why you look like that.
It's hilarious.
You're just a sex addict, not a
It's
gym
like
freak.
it's everything. It's the way, it's the words he's using, it's the look on his face. The whole thing is like super weird, but everyone should see it.
See, when I come at the fitness angle, I always try and focus a lot on the mental aspect too, because I'm
Mhm.
a big advocate for like mental health awareness.
Me too.
Mostly because I took psychology and you get to see how it affects so many people. Like a lot of people think oh, I don't have mental health. It's just a ridiculous notion. I'm like, you can develop it later in life. Like it's not something that, if you get off this earth without having some type of thing in your head like that, I mean, you got lucky, but you can develop it at any age, and I look at Arnold where he's at now, he's not as ripped as he was before. And I see all the movies on how they used to play like him. Like there's one movie they called him, he was supposed to be Hercules coming to like America. And he was showing them like, I invented the javelin. And they're like, all right, well, show us how you javelin then. And then he like takes his shirt off. He's like amazingly ripped. And then you get to see the fucking where he throws it, then they pause it, and then they show like just it drop by a field like a whole football field away, and everyone's like, whoa. And then
Yep.
like he did the longest jump, and they did that. I'm like, and now like imagine having like literally everyone idolize you as a god for your body, and now like you look at people that are 3 times bigger than you, and you're just like, fuck. I remember I used to be like that. Like that's got to play a toll on your psyche.
But at the same time, it seems like when I listen to Arnold speak or see a video clip or something like that of his right now recent current stuff, he seems to be in a really good mental place from the outside looking in, at least.
Well, so did
Like
Robin Williams too. You got to keep
that's it.
that in mind.
Oh, this is a very good point. Very good point. I was back to that movie you were referencing. That's his very first movie.
Yeah, when he was like amazingly ripped, because the first thing he did in the first 5 seconds was take his shirt off.
Yep. No one knew who Arnold Schwarzenegger was. Nobody could say his name when that movie came out.
They were like, Arnold, what are you doing? You don't have to take your shirt off right now. Well, I'm just getting prepared. What are you going to take it off later? Probably. I never ever have it on.
Right?
Like, all right. But it makes
It's like the
sense.
Arnold voice.
It's like you look like that. Yeah, I get it. Okay. I wouldn't wear a shirt either. I'm just saying. But it comes to so many different things because, it's hard because you see a lot of social influencers, bodybuilding programs and pages that just, they do a lot of Photoshop too. And I think a lot of people get that in their head and then they give up when they see something like that. Like, that's never going to be me. I'm like, it's not meant to be you. First of all, it's not meant to be that guy either. It's just a way of, I mean, if you know anything about cutting down extremely, I went on 3% body fat and I've stayed in the 3 to 5% body range for about 7 years now. I mean, since I started working out, because I look at food more as calories rather than sustenance anymore. So it's difficult for me, but it plays a fucking toll, dude. You're wearing a big ass jacket when it's 90 degrees outside because you're cold all the fucking
Right,
time.
that is true. You don't have any insulation.
Yeah, and it's like there's benefit to that stuff, but it's all about being healthy, but not even the whole physical aspect, which most people want to attack on it first. It's the mental aspect because you have to have a right mind to be able to work out. You have to have a like a sense of peace a little bit too. If your mind's clouded with problems, your workout's going to be shit.
And sometimes, the you kind of go the other direction when you get to those extremes and like you get just because you look good doesn't mean you're healthy. Like even physically, or mentally, you can get obsessive about exercise to the point that it's unhealthy, but you can also get to the point where, okay, well, so you're living at this low body fat percent. Not that that's inherently a bad thing, but depending on your nutrition, it could be. And if you want, if you question that, then go to a bodybuilding show and count how many folks pass out on stage.
Yeah.
Because they're extremely underhydrated and malnourished, but they happen to look really good at that moment.
And if you
But
really want to get humbled on protein farts, just open up that back curtain.
right, no shit.
You get hit with a
Um,
wave of fucking sulfuric acid that burns your eyes and noses. Oh my word.
right.
It's like
But
someone
yeah,
had a dead chicken back here. I'm smelling eggs.
right. But I'm a huge proponent of balance and listening to your body. And if you don't y- if you have shit going on, if you have stress, if you're mentally distracted, you got shit happening going through your head, you know go get some exercise in, but don't kill it. Get those endorphins. It'll help clear your head, potentially, probably, but don't go try to crush it, because chances are you're going to be a little distracted and hurt yourself. But go dial it back by 25, 30%, 50%, hell, and just get some movement in, and go, hey, you know what? Something is better than nothing for today.
Yeah, I mean, putting in a little bit is more than putting in nothing at all. I
10
think a
times
lot
out
of
of
people
10.
think they need to burn their candle all the way completely to actually feel something. It's like, no, just crafting out the time, whether it's 30, whether it's 40 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. If you just show up and you actually go hard in that 20 minutes, or you just put in the effort where you feel like, you accomplish something, that's enough. That
Right.
doesn't mean you need to go. A lot of people go work out for 20 minutes. The next thing you know, they're like, oh, I got to go get a protein shake. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. That's mental thing inside your head. Protein shakes are not going to be this immediately like quick fix potion that are going to give you muscles.
No.
Just enjoy life. Understand that when a piece of pizza comes your way, you can have a slice, not the
Shit,
whole
yeah.
damn thing.
Right. And that's the thing too, is um is the people quit too quickly in lots of things, but especially in the fitness journey. Like, people, they give it 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, whatever, and they're like not where they want to be. And it's like, well, fuck it. Well, okay. If you just say fuck it and quit, guess what? You're never gonna reach your goals. Period. The only way to fail is to quit. Now, some people, man, it may take you a couple 3 years to figure out the right combination of nutrition and exercise, and maybe you got to get some metabolic testing. You need some hormone therapy or stuff like that, because you're got distress in your body, and you've got to get that all sorted out before you get where you want to go. But guess what? If you quit, you're never going to get there. So whatever you're doing, however frustrated you may or may not be, where you, I guess in this case you may be, then just don't quit. Keep trying to figure it out. And if what you're doing is working, then don't fucking change it. You mentioned earlier about how your results slow down as you become more trained, um, and a lot of people start changing shit up at that point, right? And it's like, no, 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 no. That's a natural curve. When you start something new, your response to that stimulus is much greater, than as your body begins to get somewhat accustomed to that. Now, you still want to use this fancy word called periodization, where you do vary your workouts. I recommend in 3-week cycles, but that doesn't mean like you completely radically overhaul what you're doing. You still have to push and pull, right? Push, pull, and legs, and you got to get different ways to achieve those things. And I can ramble for forever about periodization and the way you should structure things and change things up. But the point is, you can expect that long tail result. You're going to have a lot slower results in year 1 than you did year 0, and in 2 years the results are going to be even slower, and even slower the 3rd year, and so on and so forth. And that's normal. And you're not going to get around that unless you do something like we mentioned earlier, and do like steroids, or back in the day, go get some fin, and
Have you seen the old workout machines? The ones that you just sit there and it's like, when you rub a towel on your back, like you go side to side or
yeah.
side to back. There's like a machine where you stand on it, and it's just like a rubber thing that just spins around your side of your hips. It's supposed to be a waist trimmer. It's like,
Yep.
when I see all that stuff in the store, I'm like, this shit does not actually work. And I really wonder. But the only thing I've honestly seen that really works is those weighted vests. Like when you're
Well,
running with a weighted vest, like that's a big fucking difference.
Well, sure, because it takes more. If a calorie is just a unit of measure of energy, or gas in the tank, as I often call it, it takes more gas to move a heavier vehicle the same distance than it does a lighter vehicle. So if you're increasing the weight of your vehicle by that vest, then it takes more calories to move that vehicle the same distance. So if you run a mile, it takes 300 calories for your body to run a mile. Well, if you increase that body weight by 20 pounds, it's going to take more calories, more fuel to move your body that same distance. So yeah, it totally works.
I think I heard it best. Like I've been eating clean for so long that when I do eat like red meats and stuff, I just won't go to the bathroom for a very long time. And I was always like, why is this like why is this happening? And then, you know, Chuck told me, he was like, look, your body right now is like a Corvette, okay?
Hmm.
You're basically throwing diesel gas into your Corvette. You know, it's not gonna fucking run right. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like you know, you end up developing, I would say, an intolerance or a sensitivity to it, to the point where you do eat it and it does mess with your body a little bit. Like if you take fitness very seriously, you eat clean for a very long time and have not had fast food. When you eat fast food, it will destroy you.
Oh yeah,
You
your
will
system's
feel
gonna
like
freak out.
shit. Yeah, your system's gonna shut down. It's gonna be like, oh hell no. What did you just put in your mouth? Spit it out. Spit it out.
Right. You know, there's some data. There's this popular dude back in like the 90s, 2000s. What was his name? What was his program's name? Oh shit. He kind of started the whole cheat day
Adkins?
rhetoric. No, 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 no. It was oh damn. Anyway, and he cited some data, and there's still some data, some modern data that, like, you know, your body can, you know, for some people, not everybody, not like this guy was preaching, not like it doesn't work universally, but some people, you know, you put that different fuel, that different gas in the tank, and your system will freak out. But there's some data that your metabolism, like we're talking like, let me back up and finish that thought, that your metabolism can like spike because your body's like, what the fuck, get this stuff out of me.
It's an
And your
insulin dump.
metabolism can ramp up, right, can ramp up to metabolize all that, you know, that more processed food and get it gone. But that works, like, if it works at all, and it does for some people, not for others. That's the whole premise of the cheat day, right? You shock your system and go whoa, and you make your metabolism kick back up, and it can work. It also can go the other direction.
I think when it comes to like diets and stuff, it changes every couple of years. There was Atkins that was really popular. Then it was a keto, and then, you know, there's the primal diet. And now it seems
Hmm.
like we're back on the whole keto fix
Yep.
and all this stuff. It's like it keeps on shifting, but you got to understand, it's still, our bodies are so genetically different. The structure in our cells, the foods we like to eat, the foods that work best in our body, the workouts that work best in our bodies are all completely different. Like I helped my one friend lose 60 pounds in 6 months on the concept of, he was Italian. I was like, cut out the pasta, bro. And he was just like, is it that simple? I'm like, dude, you eat nothing but bread and carbs all day and you don't work out, you don't do anything physical. So you need to cut that out. Then just go to the gym maybe twice every week or something and see if
Right.
you see results. Next thing you know, he's down 60 pounds taking selfies of himself. And he's like, thank you, man, for the advice. I'm like, it's not really, that's not even like anything out of my day. It was an observation. Like
Right.
sometimes you have a habit that you love doing, but you don't want to do it every single day, because then when you start doing it every single day, it becomes an addiction. It becomes a very bad habit. It becomes toxic to you.
Right. And yeah, that's, you know, I'm sure when you said, and maybe you did mean, but I doubt when you said, you know, cut out the pasta, that meant like entirely. But like cut it in half at least, you know, don't eat pasta and bread every single meal.
Yeah, eat it once, maybe a week at the honestly, at the most. At his point, he wanted the results a lot faster. I was like, well, then
Mm-hmm.
you got to cut it out, man.
Got to be more extreme.
You got to be a little bit, you know, if you want that quick result, you want that change to be able to go to this wedding and feel good in a couple months, then you got to
Right.
cut it down a little bit. And there's someone going now, you know, he was over 300 something pounds and now he's down to like 215. He's putting up selfies of himself like in a tank top. I'm like, good for you, man. Pro advocate, because I've seen you put in the fucking work for it and I see how hard it gets you. And every time you go, you're throwing it in there. And now you feel better. It's because you built something up and you watched it grow, and then now you're getting the payoff for it. That feels so much fucking better.
Oh yeah, totally. At the same time, you know, when you do totally cut out something like that, well, so if he totally cuts out pasta, you know, there's nothing wrong with that as long as the total nutrition is where it needs to be, and he's healthy. But when you cut it out, guess what happens? This is the problem with Atkins. You know, if you totally stop eating pasta,
You
guess what
binge later.
happens? Guess what happens the second you start eating pasta again?
You binge.
Oh, and your body also doesn't know how to process it anymore, so it just balloons the fuck back up like
Yeah.
fast.
I stopped eating like pizza and all that greasy stuff, like fried chicken and stuff. If someone brings it around the house, I gotta take myself out of the room because I'm like, they're like, why didn't you just have a slice of pizza? I'm like, because a slice of pizza for me is me taking that full fucking pizza, rolling it up like a taco, and consuming it. I
And
like
that's
just the smell of it's like, oh shit, like your brain's like, hey, remember when you used to eat that a lot? Remember when oh my God, Domino's with their fucking oregano that they put on their bread? Oh,
well, and that's that's some people are like that. I'm like that. Like if I'm trying to make better choices, like I can't have, oh, I'm just gonna go have one cookie. Like no, I want to. If I have one, I'm gonna have the whole fucking carton. Like
you eat a
you
bag of
know,
chips, you never stop at one chip. You
yeah,
eat probably the bag of chips.
and that's how I am. But you, for some reason, but I fucking love food. And it, if I'm trying to make some better choices, here or there, because there's ebbs and flows of everyone's training. If I'm going, well, shit, man, I'm up more than where I want to be. Right now, yada yada yada. Let me not make some better choices of, like, I can't have one chip. I'm gonna have the whole basket if I go to a Mexican restaurant. It's like, so you just have to understand what your own self is like as a
Yeah.
person. Some
If
people can go, well, I'm just gonna have a cookie, or I'm gonna have a handful of chips, and I'm like, that's not me.
if the Girl Scouts are selling you Thin Mints, if you're gonna pay $40 for a box of Thin Mints, you're eating the fucking Thin Mints.
Right? A serving size is one sleeve.
Yeah, one sleeve, a pack of Oreos too, man. I'm telling you, there's something about that. They got it down. That scared me because you get to see the Oreos, all the Doritos and stuff, the flavors change. Then there's one where like Oreos is like, we cut out the middleman. You're like, what does that mean? They're like, they just sell you the cream filling now. I'm like, now you're making it really lazy and easy for people just to get the only part of the cookie that they truly enjoy.
Right. Right. That's funny.
I swear, like, I mean, it does get hard, obviously, to shop and eat right and eat a healthy lifestyle when the common norm and like the way pricing is with a lot of foods, like fast food is the cheapest option. So for a
Yeah.
lot of people that work, that's their most available option rather than
Sure.
sitting down and eating a home cooked meal. But I think it's more like if you have the mindset and you know that, like, if you can prep your stuff, like I'm a big food prepper. If you just get your meal set aside, so when you get home and you are hungry, you're not looking for that immediate quick bite like a hot pocket or something. You just eat something that's a little bit healthier for you. You feel better throughout the day. Your mental well-being feels better. Your body feels better. If you eat a salad, you'll be full. You'll be a little bit bloated, but you don't feel like shit to the point where you're like, I just want to lay down all day. It's like, no, because you don't have that insulin dump. You have actually sustainable energy.
Right. And that's the key. A lot of folks just need to spend some time, number one, educating themselves on what actual proper nutrition is, not these fad diets that come and go. But figure out what balance looks like for them. And that's my big soapbox, I guess, if you want, or what I focus on is I always tell clients, strive for balance, whether it be in your diet, in your exercise, or your life in general. We're looking for balance. And we understand there's going to be these ebbs and flows, right? There's going to be these ups and downs in your diet, in your exercise, in your life. But if your goal is balance, then you're always going to be able to come back to that zero, you know, not those highs and those lows. You're always going to get back to level and not, find yourself in these extremes. And the extremes are not sustainable for a long time. And that's the problem. You do, I'm going to fucking, not eat any carbs and eat only protein and fat. Well, that might work for you for a time, but it's not sustainable, or you may go, well, I'm going to fucking crush it an hour a day in the gym, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. You're 7 days a week. Okay, fine. That's going to
Hey,
work for a while,
that
but it's not
seemed like a
sustainable.
target. That was a target.
Shit, it might be for a while, but you can't do that indefinitely.
No,
And
you
you're
were
gonna,
targeting me with that specific example. You're
oh,
like,
no, not at
7
all,
days a week. I
not
was
at
like,
all.
this guy. No, but I get it, dude, because it isn't sustainable, man. Because there are days I do wake up and I'm like, fuck, man, my leg feels like jello. Like there's no way. And I still have to, I mean, honestly, it's like I force myself to go, but it's like you also want to make sure you create it as a positive influence, not a bad habit too. You
Right,
don't want it to be a pain in the ass or a job when you go. You want to make sure that you're doing this because you understand that like you can still live a life but still be able to improve it on some aspects as well.
Yeah, and you want to understand that when you're exercising, all you're doing is breaking down the body. All right, what dictates whether or not your muscles get stronger, leaner, denser, bigger, whatever your goal is when they recover. So if you never recover, then recovery is where the results come from, right? So if you're always breaking down, and never letting it recover and rebuild, then you never get where you want to go. And a lot of folks think, well, if I'm not getting where I want to go, I need to work harder. It's like, well, actually, maybe you should recover harder. Maybe you should let your body heal and rest. If you're always in pain, that's your body telling you, bro, I'm tired. Like you should not be sore all the time. If you are, you're overtraining.
Yeah.
And you know, always tell clients that you know if that you want, it's okay to feel the work, to wake up next morning and be like, ooh, yeah, I got a little feel that little arm work, but it's not like, oh my god, T-Rex arms, I can't straighten my arms out. That's not a good thing that we want to be at all the time.
Yeah, I start noticing when I'm driving, my hand cramps, and next thing I know, I'm like, "Fuck, can't steer my steering wheel now." You're palming it with your fucking face trying to turn. You're like, "Oh shit." But I mean, it is true because your body does need a sense of recovery. That's why, like, I mean, there was a point where I didn't have a job during winter for a couple of years ago, and I did it for, it was like a whole winter. I had no job, so I was just working out twice a day.
Mhm.
And I mean, that shit I was able to do because I was sleeping and then going to the gym, sleeping and then going to the gym.
Right.
There was no other thing in there. So it was like my body was recovering all the freaking time. So then you
Mhm.
have enough energy to go. And then, like, once you stop going twice a day, it's hard to cut it back down to one because you've been and seen the results. And then it feels like any little bit of effort that you stop putting in, it feels like you're giving up. But that's not true. You
Not
just
at
need,
all.
you need to find a way to make your life better, but not also burn, drive the car when it's on empty. You got to let that fuel come back in. You got to put some more in the tank. You got to,
Exactly.
what you put in is what you get out, basically.
Right.
And hey, Jeffrey, I mean, I appreciate you doing the podcast. I know you got to roll out of here and open up that gym, man. I can't,
I do.
I can't let those people wait on you.
I appreciate that.
But I want to give you here a minute at the end to kind of plug your content, like we discussed earlier.
Oh yeah. So in addition to owning the gym, here locally in Nashville, also just recently started a podcast of my own called the Functionally Dysfunctional Show. And it's me, and most episodes are going to be me and a buddy. We actually record here in person in the same room. Um, but I'm going to have some other guests on there. Uh, Depending on the topic, and it's not as free as what your awesome show is, where it's just like, hey, let's just riff. It's just we start with a topic in mind, and we kind of start there, but it kind of goes where it goes from there. So it's like, we recorded an episode a couple days ago that was about talking about aliens and all kinds of things.
That goes everywhere.
Oh man, it ended up like going to football somehow, and then came back to aliens. But like somehow the football and the alien thing was like an analogy. I'm not sure how it happened, but it came. So it's like just the way we just let it roll. But no, we talk about all kinds of shit, and that's the point. We're gonna talk about things that matter. Gonna talk about deep shit. Gonna talk about fun shit. We played Call of Duty Modern Warfare live on the show when it dropped a couple weeks ago. So so there's just some cool shit we talk about. We kind of say it's no answers, just questions and real talk. Try and figure out if we can all collectively figure out how to be better humans.
It's all the concept of just shooting the shit. Because
Shooting the shit.
sometimes when you shoot the shit, man, it might sound like dumb conversation, but a lot of stuff gets unfolded and unraveled, and it's the key answers to a lot of things.
Well, yeah, and to me that just it just feels natural that way. Kind of like the way you run your show. Maybe you have a jumping off point, maybe you don't, but how often do you get together with your friend and go, okay, hey, let's make an appointment and let's sit down and talk about this.
It's funny
You know?
because I do my bonus episodes that usually get released, like it's like a point 0.5 or something. Those are people that have been on before that wanted to shoot the shit and they have like a topic in mind. But as soon
Mhm.
as we start, it goes a completely different direction.
Right.
Just like, up, that's not what happens. But that's the best part about, being out of the blank, I guess you would say. Not to drop my own show in there, but
No, do it.
it's the concept of like, it's fucking anything you want, man. Whatever's on your mind, let's just talk about stuff. Like it doesn't take long to have a conversation with someone you've never met before, someone you just literally got a DM from, like me, when I just message you like, "What's your show about?" and stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't promote any of my own content. I just tell people it's out of the blank. Fucking look it up. It's that simple. We get a lot of shit handed to us on an everyday basis.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not difficult to actually put in the work to go get something for yourself. I do the same thing with my gym mentality. Like it's not difficult to put in the work. It's just doing it. It's getting yourself built up to do that. That seems like it's the hardest part. But once you're there, you're happy. It's all set up for you and everything. It's just a lot of people, we live in a life of comfortability. We need to break out of that a little bit.
Yeah, it's always helpful to push your limits and expand your horizons.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Jeffrey, man. Open up that gym so some people can get a pump.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we're gonna go get a pump, but like Arnold, hopefully, or unlike Arnold, hopefully it's not everybody just like coming.
And you didn't get a pump, bro. You didn't get a pump.